great Scott!
Are you a sports fan who loves to have a good laugh?
Oh, yeah!
Then you're in the right place.
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
Life moves pretty fast.
Patriots win the
Welcome
Super Bowl!
to the Man Cave Chronicles.
Brady has his fifth!
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's podcast. This week I have actor G-Rod. What's going on?
All's well, my man. I'm glad we could get on the horn and talk and chat.
It's been I know we were trying to work it out for a few days, and had a bad storm here, and I lost power for almost 2 days.
You got power back on, all's well? Family's good.
Oh yeah, everything's good. Family's good. All right. So tell the listeners where you're from.
Originally born in Venezuela. Came over at a very young age, at 5 or 6, and ended up in South Florida ultimately. And I was there for most of my youth years. I'm now, I can't believe it that I'm gonna say this, 'cause I think it's the first time I actually said it. I'm now 40. Okay, and I moved up to, I'm in New York now because that's where my career took me, because everything in Florida, as you probably know, in terms of tax incentives. Okay. So there's very little opportunities in the entertainment industry in Florida, period. I get down to Atlanta a lot because there's a lot of work there. I've made a pretty nice mark in Atlanta, but now I'm trying to make my mark in New York City.
Yeah.
Because they say that's where, if you make it there, you make it anywhere, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah. So how did you get into acting?
It's a two-part story. I would actually go places often as I started shaping into the adult that I am today, and by that I mean that sort of scary mug that you see there, that sort of fighter look. That didn't start really bubbling up until I turned I think it was 29. Before that, I actually looked like a sweet kid, believe it or not. So it was at 29, 30 that I started turning into this thing, this beast. I started working out really hard, putting on some mass, and my look started just shaping up to be what I was going to be as an old man, I guess. And then I would get stopped often. I would get stopped, and people would ask me, am I cop, my firefighter, or people that I would interact with. Just, yeah. Hi, how are you, at a bar or whatever. Are you a cop, or are you a firefighter? Or then people would stop and ask me if I'm MMA. And then finally, this dude with his family at the airport stopped me with his kid and was like, "Oh man, I saw your fight last night, UFC." Blah, blah, blah. I was like, "No man, I don't fight professionally." Oh, that's how we're playing. Okay, cool. You know what? I just snapped this little selfie here with my son. Be good to go. Oh yeah, we'll keep it cool. I was like, holy shit, he didn't believe me. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, what the fuck? I got to do something with. Oh shit, I just dropped the F word and the S word.
Don't worry.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I got to do something with this. Is there something I can do with it? And then acting. Just what if I had told that dude that I was that dude, that fighter, and what if I had charged him for a photo? I don't know.
Yeah.
and this is around the time that I was looking to be a border patrol. I was actually looking to be a border patrol agent, and I went pretty far. I went as far as getting approved on the oral interview, where they interview you, and it's a very intimidating setting. You got 3 people in front of you, 3 federal agents in front of you, and they're all hammering out questions. And then finally they go into a scenario. All right, we're going to tell you a scenario. We want you to tell us how you're going to play it out. Well, long story short, I thought I was supposed to play it out. And I started acting it out. And they're like, okay, so now you got a guy in front of you, and you don't even know if he's a suspect, but he's reaching in his pockets. I'm like, get on the ground. Now you got a car approaching you from the back. You don't know who they are, but now they have their you see guns. And I'm like, you get down, and I pull out my gun. And at the end of it, they're just looking at each other. And like, in the 30 years I've done this, I've never had somebody play out the actions in a interview for Border Patrol.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I failed. That was very animated, very interesting. You passed. So that happened, and then what happened? The paperwork. I actually had a foreclosure on my record, and they said that they didn't like it, so that never went through. I never became a Border Patrol agent, and then the acting kind of came to rise in that shape. And I'm actually glad that happened, because who knows, I probably would have been dead by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just never know. They would have sent me to the border of Mexico, and God knows what would have happened. I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
So I went down this path instead. It's much safer.
Yeah. Now, what pushed you while you were going for acting?
It just became my passion more and more. I think that they say that if you're passionate about something and you do it, your drive is gonna increase. But if you get the opportunity to do it, like if you're a pilot, right?
Yeah.
And you wake up one morning and you say, I want to be a pilot. Yeah, I'm passionate about piloting or flying planes, whatever. And you don't get behind, I don't want to say wheel. I think you don't get to fly a plane or be in the cockpit of a plane. Then you're not going to keep that fire lit.
Yeah.
Is what they say. So, but if you get to the opportunity to get in the cockpit, and the next time you get into the cockpit, they let you hit a switch, and the next time they let you touch the one of the levers and shit like that, and the next time they let you do more, then you keep that passion, that fire burning. And that's what happened with me. I kept getting exposed to work, and that just, I went deeper. I'm like, how far does this rabbit hole go?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I kept getting booked. I kept getting, next thing you know, I'm like on the set of like Ballers and working with, Julian Farino, who's one of the greats in terms of directing, and then working opposite of Rob Corddry, who is a hilarious dude.
Yeah.
So it's like all of this is within reach. That's what happens to your mind. You're able to tell yourself, I can do this. All this is within reach. Kind of like people that travel. Like, the world isn't that big. Like, it's a hop and skip away here, a couple hours here. You get on a plane, you're in a meeting, you go back. And so now the world seems smaller. And that's what happened with the acting. It's like, okay, well, next time you walk into a room, the first time, of course, you walk into an audition, it's like, oh my God. And the next thing, you walk into the following one with more confidence. And the next one, you're walking into it with more confidence. Before you know it, you're rolling up in there full of confidence, ready to roll.
Yeah.
So what happens is the fire that kept burning and that passion with confidence, that's going to play out. Yeah. People are going to see that play out on camera. It's like, all right, this dude's got something.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time when you auditioned?
Yeah, Lori Wyman. Lori Wyman's a casting director out of South Florida, and I auditioned for Burn Notice. I auditioned for Burn Notice 7 times.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm now that I look back, I think to myself, why the hell did they let me audition 7 times? What the hell were they thinking? Because the first 3 times that I walked in there, I was a total train wreck.
Yeah. Well,
I say that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they must have saw something to call you all those times back.
Yeah. I gotta think that. Listen, this is a tough. Who wakes up in the morning and says, "I know what I want to be today. I know what I want to be."
Yeah.
An actor. What the hell? You just feel like slapping that person. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Could you pick something more difficult? Because see, in life, everything else, or most of the things out there are pretty much carved out. If you're disciplined, if you're dedicated, and you do the work, you can get there. I don't care if you say you want to be a surgeon, a brain surgeon. Guess what? If you're disciplined, you put in the work, you put in the hours, the blood, sweat, and tears, you can get there.
Yeah.
With acting, it's not that way. It's not perfectly carved out. So what kept, I kept auditioning, for example, for that Burn Notice. I know within me that, and people have told me, casting directors, it's that look. I got that look that's very unique. So I don't know how people do it who look like regular Joe Schmoes.
Yeah.
You have hard-looking people, hard-looking black dudes, hard-looking white dudes, and hard-looking Latino dudes. And then there's me. Like, who the hell is this dude? Like it's just different. You have a million funny-looking dudes. So if I was like a plain Jane type of dude, I don't know that I would be. I wouldn't know that I would have the drive. I don't know that I would have my fire would burn out, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I've been in situations where I walk in and the casting director's like, "Man, you got a really unique look." It's like, "Wow, cool, thank you." Yeah. I think.
Do you get a lot of like, they see you because you're big and everything? You're like a good villain to play in shows?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Listen, I'm not. I did this interview recently, and they asked me, "What is something you want to do?" And I was like, "I would love to do a commercial, man, just a commercial." But they won't fucking hire me for commercials. Like I remember walking into a DirecTV commercial, and the client is sitting there on his smartphone, looking down, and the casting person's behind the camera, ready to tape my audition. I walk in. The dude looks up, the client looks up like, and then looks up at the camera dude like, oh, okay. It was almost like, okay, well, yeah, okay, go ahead, put yourself on tape. Like, he was probably thinking, what the hell was this agent thinking, sending this dude in here? Yeah. We got to sell direct TV, and this guy looks like he can eat our customers. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna be that guy that's on TV delivering a package for UPS. It's unless it turns into like a gun commercial, and then here's the Ruger or whatever. This is the pistol you need when somebody like this dude dressed up in a UPS outfit shows up at your door. Call this number. Here's the website. Yeah. I'm not gonna be that dude, but I think it would be so cool because but there's a certain level you got to get to, I think, where you can play off of that comedy. Like you see The Rock. The Rock is not a commercial face, but he's so big that you make it funny, and you can take it in that direction. So that's what I would love to do. I would love to do a commercial. Yeah. Let me do a commercial. Play into the funny. Have me approaching some kid where they look scared, and then there's a laugh, and there's an M&M. Here's your M&M, or here's your Hershey's Kiss.
Yeah. Hey, you keep trying. Sooner or later, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, exactly.
What has been your biggest achievement in the field of acting so far?
I gotta say, the tales that's coming up. I am so thrilled about that. This is absolutely huge. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tales.
Not yet.
Okay, so it's coming up on BT. I'm one of the lead actors. It's kind of like conceptually, it's kind of like Black Mirror. Not sure if you're familiar with Black Mirror, but they're all self-contained episodes. The plots are resolved within one episode, and they change the cast entirely. And okay, so you're with me. But this is all based on hip hop songs.
Okay.
So I'm in the episode titled "All I Need," which is based off of hip hop song by Method Man and Mary J. Blige, which is which is like a mega hit.
Yep.
I remember when I was a kid listening to it. You familiar with the song?
Yes.
All right. So the concept is so dope. Irv Gotti, which is, he's the creator, that he directed the episode that I was in, had the pleasure and honor of working with him. He came up with this concept, and it's one of those concepts that I think to myself, God damn it, why didn't I come up with that?
Yeah.
I post it, grab these little fucking notes and post them and call them Post-its, make $1 million. So yeah, he came up with this concept. It's so simple but so dope. We're gonna create these episodes and base them off of songs, and he's spoken about this. You can take that in many different genres. Once he conquers hip hop, he can take that into the country. He can take that into Latin music, rock music, because all these songs carry a plot. From the beginning of the song to the end, it's like a story within itself.
Okay.
So when I got the script, when I auditioned for this, by the way, I had no idea it was going to be so big. I auditioned for it, and I'm like, all right, so it's just some douchebag cop. We've seen this 100 times on TV. The guy's a dick. He hates his life. He downs half a gallon of coffee every day. Puts his finger in it to mix it, the creamer and the sugar in the coffee. He's just a dick. The guy probably doesn't shower as much as he should. That type of guy. So I read it, loved it, and then really got to understand the story, how the twists and the turns and the love story. I can't give too much out, but
yeah,
it's just so incredible. So that whole experience shooting this thing is really, I would say that really has taken me to another level, and I'm really excited for it. I had an opportunity to do some stunt work. I typically do all my stunts. I typically will tell whoever's on set, whoever's in charge, hey, send the stunt double home. They can go packing because I got this. I like to get dirty. I like to get bloody. And if it involves throwing somebody through a window or bashing somebody's head, let's go.
What is this a 30-minute show or is it an hour show?
An hour.
Okay.
An hour. Yeah. And I don't have the release date. The next to the last episode aired last night.
Okay.
So the next one up is mine.
All right. So when's that one coming up? In a few weeks?
You know what? I got to check with the publicist because I know she's working to get that.
Okay. How do you try?
It should be soon.
Yeah. Okay. How do you try to improve your acting skills every day?
I try. I'll sneak into a couple classes, and by sneaking, I mean that I'm not in a program where I encourage people, obviously, to take classes. It's all about the best way to keep your acting chops sharp is to perform to an audience. I'm not a believer in getting down to mechanics so much. There's those guys out there that, okay, no, you have to put your hand through your hair at this point in time, and right about now you do this motion and maybe wink your eye over here. I strongly believe that if you wrap your head around the material, because these are just letters, these are just combinations of letters put together that somebody thought out. Either they thought it out well or they thought it out poorly. All you can do is take the material. You can't worry about the larger picture. You just can't. All you can do is take the material, own it, and believe in it that this is you, and then forget the mechanics. Yeah. Forget the narration in between lines. Forget all that. I never look at that stuff. Oh, he's excited right now, so he points at his partner and says, let's go, hop in the car. And as he's hopping in, he grabs a donut. No, fuck all that.
Yeah.
read. I tell people all the time, just read the lines. Read the lines and perform them. Grab 4 people that you know. I don't care. Grab 4 or 5 people that you know and have them just relax. We tend to act differently when we have an audience in front of us. So if you can put yourself in a performance in front of people, whether it's 2, 3, this is why I say go to a class, because you end up with 20 people in front of you, and you're able to shake off the artificiality of your performance, then you're on your way to progressing. And that's all it is, because at the end of the day, if I'm sitting here in a room all alone and I memorize these lines, that's the easiest part, man. That's the easiest part. Memorizing these lines. I'm all alone here right now. I'm all alone here in the apartment. Nobody's here. No problem. But what tends to happen is that people get caught up in the artificiality of what this, of acting. And you arrive on set and there's 100 people looking at you. One person over there is just looking at the script, making sure you utter every single word and this and that, and they might want you to utter exactly how it's written out. Nothing you can do about that. There's this other person holding up the boom and this and the cameraman. Before you know it, you add it up. There's 50 to 75 people just staring at you. Yeah. So, and then you have the audience who's supposed to look through that little peephole right there, look at you, and you're supposed to play that shit out like it's just you and that other person in the room. Yeah. So that's what helps. That's what I do to keep my acting chops sharp, is put myself in situations where I can either ad-lib or read a monologue. And the best place to do it is in the acting class.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny because the next question that I actually wrote down for you was, what is some advice that you would give to somebody that wants to become an actor?
That's one of the things. Go to an acting class, because let me tell you, acting classes are very revealing. I have seen firsthand people that are in acting classes and they should go be like a surgeon. And I just say that because I thought about it. They should go seek something else. It's not for them. It just isn't. Their brain doesn't click that way. It's almost like, and I've seen it play out many times, it's almost like they're trying to find the rationale behind what's going on, and you can't do that. You can't do that. They're almost disconnected with their emotions in a way, which could be something from their past, growing up. So it's a very revealing process if you go to an acting class. And it doesn't have to be a top-notch acting class. You don't have to come to New York City to do it. Just go to your local acting class. I mean, I don't care where you are. If you're in Ohio, Kentucky, whatever, there's going to be an acting class. There's going to be 30 people that are gathering together. You pay your $10, $15, $20, and get in there and perform. And it is going to be very revealing. There's some cases where you see these people that are going in there, and you're like, no, it's not going to happen. I believe, I'm a strong believer, never give up. Keep digging deeper. But there's an old notion, a thought that if you're digging in the wrong hole, you're never going to get there, right? Yeah. So maybe you think that this is your passion. A lot of people get into this business for the wrong reasons. Maybe you're just caught up in the moment. Maybe you're just caught up in the fame of it. And maybe you're just chasing this for an entirely different reason. So that's why I say getting to an acting class, it's going to be very revealing. And if you feel, like 3, 4, 5 sessions into it, somebody hopefully, you can only hope for the best, that somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, yeah, that was, that came off natural. Yeah. Because that's all it is. That's all it is. People think that acting means acting. No. The minute you're acting is the minute it's garbage. So can you walk into a room, we'll call it acting just because categorically that's what it is, but can you walk into a room, grab those sides or whatever, that script, grab that combination of letters, right? Because that's what I refer to it. It's just combination of letters that somebody decided to put together. Yeah. Can you read those Can you memorize them and deliver them in a natural manner? That's all it is. Yeah. But most people think that when you yell out action or go, or, it's your turn, you're up, they get into this mode and they start acting.
The Man Cave Chronicles on Twitter at the MCC Podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Brian Padone here, founder of Quiet Punch. When I'm not listening to the Man Cave Chronicles, you can catch me filming one of my live workouts on quietpunch.com. Check it out today. That's quietpunch.com.
This is Adam Nutter.
And this is Greg Trout.
And we're Nerds with Words, and you are listening to the BS Podcast Network.
Hey, this is Jeremy Falco from The Walking Dead, and you're listening to the Man Cave Chronicles.
I always wonder if for like some actors, is it like, do they just wake up and they're like, yep, this is my job, I gotta go do this, and there's other actors that are like, they're very passionate about it.
I've been with both on set, some even bigger names, big names, where you can kind of see it, where they've been doing this so long, longer than in some cases than when I was learning how to wipe my ass.
Yeah.
And they're I don't even know if I'll ever get there, but they're like in such a deep mode where they just put this on like a pair of socks. They're not hating on the process, but you can tell that they're just wearing it like a coat.
Yeah. It's
kind of cool to see, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to see. And they'll own the ground that they stand on. Everything about it is telling you that this person is like a surgeon that just walks in. You got surgeons that, true story, you got surgeons that walk into surgery and they're whistling Dixie and they got the news up on the TV screen, and this dude on the bed can flatline and they're still, it's all good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see. I haven't yet experienced people that, or worked with professionals, big names that are entirely miserable and feel like this is 9 to 5. I think that we all know, I think, or most people in this business to some degree know that if they're fortunate enough to be doing this, that this isn't the type of thing you can just wake up and let's go, let's do this, let me go be a nurse, like acting. No. I think at some level, people that are being successful, that are successful at this, are reminding themselves, okay, I can't just wake up and I'm fortunate to be in this position, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and you seem like you're more like, you're passionate about this, so it drives you even more.
Right.
Yeah. So,
right.
What do you think is the hardest role you ever had to play?
The hardest role. That's a good question. Hardest role. Most of what I've done, I don't describe this as hardest, but most of what I've done is bad guy.
Okay.
And the bounty hunter's role of Pancho, cousin Pancho, that I play, I don't want to say that it was hard, but it took some discovery.
Yeah.
So it took some self-learning, if you will. Like the character that I play is a bubbling idiot, basically a simpleton. This guy's living in his next snack. It determines what his next move is in life. He's not deep at all. He's just a goofball. So I found myself at times thinking too deeply into stuff, and I'm like, So what I found that was easier is the entire time that I was there, I was that idiot. So I shot this in London, and I was in London for almost 2 months shooting Bounty Hunters, and it just seemed easier to just make the whole thing, the whole trip that I went to Europe, kind of like a field trip a family trip
Yeah.
And I was 12 again, and that's what it was. I went there and I had a really good time, and I kind of just didn't think too deeply into stuff. Matter of fact, I had a couple bills that backed up that I'm like, oh, I should have paid those from over there. I truly just went in that and it helped. Like by day 3 or 4, I'm like, all right, this is good. I'm not going to think too deep into things. I'm going to be a little obnoxious. I'm going to be a little annoying. Hopefully I don't piss too many people off. And it worked. The first episode aired last week, and the reviews were great. The second episode airs today, and I'll tell you, there's a scene in there that involves me pretty much naked, and Jack Whitehall, which is a great comedian. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the name, but this guy's hilarious. He's got these awkward faces about him. So it involves me, a bathtub, him in his underwears, and it is so damn funny. And that airs tonight on Skype, but I think that we can get it here through Skype.com. I mean, sorry, it airs tonight on Sky One. Sky One.
Yeah, I watched the trailer,
Sky
and are they gonna eventually air that in the U.S.?
I believe it's coming over on one of the platforms like Netflix or Hulu or something like that. And it feels now that it's become a success, it's probably more so. But I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
the Sky One is like Fox over there. It's huge.
Yeah, that is one of their biggest channels in England.
Right.
Yeah.
In the UK.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they have
all good stuff.
They have I think it's 20 or 30 channels with sports and everything.
Right.
Yeah. What are some of your inspirations and actors? Who did you look up to?
I would have to say, The Rock, based on his success as I consider him. He is rather a mixed race guy that happens to be bald, happens to have some facial hair, and although I'm not as big as him, that we have similar structures. So, like the kind of stuff he's going to get booked for, the stuff that he's passing up on because it's just too small for him, I'll gladly pick up his crumbs.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So that guy or Vin Diesel. Now, in terms of acting and performance, when it comes to drama, it's more Vin Diesel that I look up to than The Rock, because The Rock is this action figure that you just think, all right, he's going to smash a wall, he's going to jump through a building, whereas I tend to appreciate more Vin Diesel's acting work, because that's very similar to, if you've seen any of my stuff, it's very similar to the way I perform. And I never defined it. I never sat there and said, this is what I'm going to do like a rapper. Okay, this is my style. This is the way it's going to be. But there's similarities there. Not similarities that I look to achieve, but similarities that you can tell. Like, there's very little going on in my face and body movements when I'm performing. As a matter of fact, I had a director once tell me, he's like, I'm in an audition room, and he's like, this was back for Graceland. I was on Graceland.
Okay.
And director Steven Surgic, great guy, great director. He's right now directing Luke Cage in New York. And he ended up booking me for Graceland. And he said, you know, there's something very unique about the way you work. And I go, what's that? He's like, most situations you have actors come in here and they go too big. And then it's hard to bring them down. Whereas it's small. And if I have to crank you up, I can do that easily. That's much easier. And I'm not sure if you understand what I mean by that, but what he meant by that is, like, I'm not very animated. Like, 9 times out of 10, you'll have a guy that says, if the line is, I'm going to kill you, I want to kill you. And then they're loud, and their eyebrows are popping, and this and that, whereas I'll just say, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Big difference.
What, so how was it working with The Rock on Ballers, too?
Well, I was introduced to the director Julian's Farino. I was brought on set the day that I worked in the early morning just to talk about my role, and The Rock happened to be there, but I never interacted with him. Only with the director and with one of the producers. Okay. So I didn't interact with him. The only time I interacted with him is when he was working out at my gym down in South Florida one time, and I'm sitting there doing triceps, and then you're working with a V-bar, and what I do is if I'm working with the V-bar, I have the rope right next on the floor, ready to swap. I'm done with the V. I swap it with the rope, and then knock out my next workout. So I put the rope down, and then here comes along this guy, big guy. I can't really see because I'm focused on my workout, and somebody takes my rope. Now everybody in that gym knows me, and I'm not saying I'm a badass, but don't take my rope. If I put my rope there, they know not to take it. Yeah. So here's my rope gets taken away, and I feel the presence of this big human being next to me, and I put down my V-bar, and I turn around. I'm like, who the hell? And there's The Rock. And then I'm like thinking to myself, all right, I'll let him slide this time. The next time. That was the only time I interacted with him.
I know you said earlier you would love to do a commercial or something like that, but like, what is your dream role?
Oh man, dream role. I would love to do an action movie. That's on the top of my list. I love doing stunts. I'm a member of one of the most prestigious groups in the States called Stunts Unlimited. And I was sponsored by Eric Norris, which is Chuck Norris's son. Eric Norris, just so you know, he's the guy that did all the stunt work or coordinated all the stunts for Sons of Anarchy. Okay. So this guy's held in very high regard in the stunt community. And he sponsored me. I'm very, very happy and thankful for that. So I would love to just do a stunt flick where there's chasing, there's a chase scene where I'm walking away with at least one broken bone in my body.
Yeah. Kind of like those action movies you see where the guys, explosions in the background, or you're just walking away from the car.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure what the hell's going on in my head, and maybe I was, maybe I'm a masochist, but I want to walk away with at least a broken rib or something. Yeah. Just to know I put out a damn good product.
Yeah. Kind of like the Die Hard movies when Bruce Willis is beat up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Have a question for the Man Cave Chronicles? Tweet them now at the MCC Podcast.
Rotoware.com.
Rotoware.
Big shout out to the Rotoware company.
It's so goddamn comfortable.
Can't recommend them enough, man.
Yeah.
High quality t-shirts.
Shout out to Rotoware.com.
You see me rocking the shirts on the videos and stuff like that.
Where'd you get that?
Rotoware.
That is courtesy of Rotoware.
It's just the highest quality of shirts.
Yeah, I really like the baseball designs you got here.
The shirt is beautiful.
Everybody who I've talked to who has the shirt basically says they can't believe how good the quality is.
Yeah, kid, I've seen you've been getting a lot of love. You said you've been only running for a little over a month.
CBS guys are tweeting out shirts. I'm seeing fantasy personalities everywhere digging this guy's shirt.
I love the Run DFS shirt.
It comes with baseball cards with all the different shirts on it.
Rotoware on Twitter. Check out rotoware.com.
Oh my God, is this shirt making love to me right now? Like, what's going on? I love this shirt.
So how was it working on Gotham? I just saw recently you filmed something on that, and The Walking Dead, and how was it working on those type of shows?
Well, the Walking Dead was amazing opportunity. Amazing. It's crazy to be on that set, by the way, because they're so. I think I had an escort to the bathroom, to be honest with you. Yeah. And a couple knocks at the door. You okay in there? Yeah, no, I'm kidding. But it's a very, very tight set, and because you have people who are these big fanatics that are. Right, I guess snatching things and taking them and selling them on eBay. I don't know what they thought I was in, but there's eyes on you at all times. Yeah. It was an honor and a privilege working with Greg Nicotero, which is one of the directors and I believe a producer on the show. It was a short scene. I didn't know it was going to be that short because they have people that write scripts just for auditions, which is amazing.
Yeah. Because
they don't want it circulating, outside of their building, or people getting, like if I'm auditioning for something, there's times where I get the complete script. That's not happening with The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I get my head blown off by the Hispanic girl, whatever. I forgot what her name is.
I can't remember her name top of my head too.
Yeah. But you see a simple scene like that, and you think to yourself, "Well, that went by rather quickly." I think that scene took 4 hours to shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there was other parts to it, and it's all, I think, in an effort to just kind of throw you off. For example, the alarms are going off in that scene. The alarms weren't going off when I shot it. It's kind of interesting the way that they really keep things tight-lipped.
Oh yeah.
Gotham was a lot of fun. I had no idea that that it was going to be it was going to be so big. I mean, I got people out here in New York City just stopping me. It's like, "Oh man, you got your head smashed in. All right, man. You okay? You okay? Well, the hammer's not okay. I'm okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how cool is that? That I get a text message, and how would you like to play the Hammer and fight Grundy? What do you say to that? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Let's just, of course, let's go. I'm the Hammer, and I'm going to throw down with Grundy. Yeah. Let's go. So it was very exciting. The fight was supposed to be very quickly, and I think that everybody, stunt coordinator, everybody got kind of excited about just once you saw the uniform and this thing started just building up. It's like, oh no, let's just make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Next thing you know, they're smashing my head in, and next thing you know, it's not just a simple hammer; it's a big hammer with dumbbells. With the weights. So I think it was so damn cool, honestly. Yeah. You saw the fight, I take it.
Yes, yeah. Me and my wife, we watched Walking Dead in Gotham. Yeah, it was good.
Okay, so you just watched it. You didn't know it was going to be in it.
I did not until I saw your highlight on Instagram too.
Yeah, and there's these people that follow these comic book TV shows. It's amazing. They're hiding out there. They're really big fans.
Yeah. And I don't even read comic books, but I like watching those type of shows.
Right. So anytime I can do something like that. I mean, you kidding? Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's throw down.
Yeah, I had a previous guest, Dominic Bogart. He was on Arrow, and he was telling me how awesome it was just working on that set.
Okay. Yeah, I was submitted to that, but I haven't heard back. That was about a year ago. So yeah. I would love to be on Arrow.
Yeah, that's another great show. And how about how about Power? Tell us a little bit about that.
Power was just amazing experience. I mean, it's just this guy Joseph Sikora is amazing to work with. Everybody treated me great. I mean, I have to say that up until now, that was one of the most. The staff, everybody was just so pleasant to work with and be around. It was an amazing. Honestly, I auditioned for this, and this is one of those things where you have to. I put myself on tape for that. So I'm at the. If you saw the episode.
I don't have Starz actually.
Okay, if you see the episode, it's very. It's dark, if you see the show, it's dark, and I had to put myself on tape with my wife, and she's got this little squeaky voice, and there's times where I think to myself, can I pull it off? You know what I'm saying? can I pull it off? I got this little squeaky voice, and I'm trying to, be aggressive and trying to be mean, and you just never know subconsciously if you let out any doubt that you're transforming the room that you're in, that you're transforming. I'm sitting there putting myself on tape, and I got Play School toys right beneath me over here. I got my little girl's teddy bear to my right. And then I got her Barbie house to my left. And then I got my wife behind the camera reading opposite this tough dude. Yeah. And we're about to interact with each other in a very serious scene. And then you go. All right, action, go. And I got to transform. Well, not me, but everybody that's doing this, right, that chooses to do this line of work. I got to transform within seconds. The whole room, I got to transform her. Everything. Just you got to step outside of your logical reasoning for a minute. There's part of it that I think to myself sometimes, if you're not slightly crazy, you can't do this. Yeah. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. So if you're not like 10% crazy, where you can turn it on like that, it's not going to work for you. So anyways, I put it on tape. Then I gotta act like I get hit, that I got punched, and then I get run over by a car, and then package that all together, compress it, and send it out. And it's like you think to yourself sometimes, did I pull that off? I got the call the next day that they said that they got me on hold. It was a very exciting scene where I'm a mouthy underground type drug dealer. And I like to kind of float my weight around, and I'm probably not thinking too clearly from time to time because I'm letting my anger get to me, and I mouth off to the wrong dude, and then that gets back to the wrong dude, to the bigger wrong dude, which is the Tommy character, who's running their little cartel at the time, and then he gets pissed off and runs me over. Now, yeah. And the whole thing, it plays out so beautifully. This guy's playing like a slow jam in the car. I forget what the song is, as he's chasing me down, and getting very, very close with the car to me. The whole thing just played so nicely. It's amazing to me how big this show is. I got to admit, I didn't watch it before I shot that.
Yeah.
And I get stopped at least once a day. Yeah. And I'm getting marriage proposals for this guy, Joseph Sikora. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to text him and tell him that you want to marry him? I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
I've gotten at least 3 marriage proposals.
Do you think some people think that TV is real?
I don't know what it is, but these people are like, they're coming up to me and they're referring to him as his TV character. They're saying, "Oh, Tommy this, Tommy that." Yeah. I think that maybe some of them, I don't think that they believe it. That they're just so caught in the moment I think it's mostly chicks that are so such big fans of these people because they're seeing them week in and week out. That's just what happens. It's this sort of infatuation.
Do you get approached by these women even when you're out there with your wife?
Never. I've never been approached with my wife. Oh, once, but it was a dude. It always happens when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think has been your favorite character that you've performed?
Yeah, it'd have to be Domingo in Power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you see it, it's a dark dude, and I really had to take it there. And I don't go. I was telling somebody about this earlier that I go in like method, but I don't go in like Jared Leto, level where I'm sending pigs over and stuff like that. But I go in, and I go in dark. I'm pulling in darkness from my past or whatever I can use as a tool. I'm going to use that. And then it takes a toll on your mind, where you have to take a minute to just kind of, all right, just reset. So I can see how people like Heath Ledger and stuff like that had to do that for a lot longer, how that could affect your mental health. And so
I think they had a documentary on that whole Heath Ledger, him playing the Joker.
Yeah.
And it was a little crazy watching it.
Yeah, because you have to, you want to be as authentic as possible, considering all the artificial elements that are surrounding you. Yeah. And that's not easy. And the only way to pull that off with sincerity and in a way that's very authentic and natural is to somewhat own it.
Yeah, I agree. What future projects are you looking forward to next?
I auditioned, out of all things, I auditioned today for a commercial with Budweiser, which again, I only audition to commercials like once in a blue moon because and there's a big movie. There's a role in a big movie that I'm being considered for that I can't mention, but let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see if that one sticks, and that's actually new this week. If that one sticks, it'll be very exciting.
Yeah. All right. So how can the listeners find you? Twitter, Instagram?
Instagram is the best way. Mr. G-Rod, MRGROD, my Twitter is tied to the Instagram. Mr. G-Rod, MRGROD.
All right. Is there anything else you want to tell the listeners before we end this?
No, just as far as the folks that are either chasing this as a dream or anything else, just do the self-analysis, determine whether it is your passion. If you're in your early 20s, hell, you got a lot of time to make mistakes. If you're a little in your upper 20s and your 30s, figure it out, make the determination, do the self-analysis, and don't stop. Yeah. Believe it's just a matter with what you're chasing, with your passion. It's a matter of removing the self-doubt within you. Forget everything and everybody else. Remove that self-doubt within you, and it'll all play out. It'll all work out.
That's great. All right, well, I want to thank you for coming on, and I hope you come back on again.
Yeah, pleasure speaking with you. Glad that we made it work.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Man Cave Chronicles. Follow them on Twitter @the MCC Podcast. We'll catch you next time.